Khalil Azad's body was found at Crystal Lake in Robbinsdale, allegedly with a broken jaw, definitely a broken nose from the looks of it, and allegedly canine bites all over his body.
Shortly after he passed, his child was born.
He tried everything in the book to see her born. He was almost there. He almost made it. We just couldn't get him there, you know?
And the family and a lot of people are saying that the police are involved.
They're beating them and they're throwing them in dumpsters, they're throwing them in lakes, and then they're framing the whole case.
Robbinsdale is such a small community that they keep a lot of stuff well hidden. And it's time for them to be exposed.
Today we're going to explain everything that I know so far of what happened with what is out there. And guys, it's so important if you share this video, you can like it, leave a comment, ask your favorite YouTuber who talks about things like this to cover it. It will help so much because this information really needs to get out there. Khalil was a 24-year-old living in Minnesota, USA. He was adopted by a woman that actually adopted his mother. And according to family and friends, he had a rough upbringing. And sometimes he would live and spend time with his best friend Mario and his family. Their relationship was so close that in this interview, when you hear Mario speak, you will hear him refer to Khalil as his brother.
Khalil was a sweetheart. He was my best friend.
He was a giant. He was legendary. He sacrificed himself to see everybody else win.
Khalil was a type of person that he was the light of the party. He always had a smile.
A smile when he lit up the room.
He was always smiling. He was so happy and funny.
Smile will literally fulfill you just for that day, for that moment. If you know my baby's father, he is a joyful person. Like, you can't even get him to sit down. He's everywhere. He's alive. He's so happy to just be like, oh my God, can you calm down? But he didn't. He just was always grinning, always smiling. Like
that even if you find yourself upset, he'd just look, make a joke, just smiling at you. He will make your spirits kind of just feel a different type of way, even if it was for a quick second.
Even though they don't share your blood, they literally impact you in a way where they leave a lasting experience.
Was a type of young man that would help. If I needed help to put groceries away, he even took my son to his first job interview. And he sat in the car and he gave him tips on how to talk to these people at the interview. And he wanted everybody to get along.
If everyone was at war, you just knew it wasn't happening when Khalil walked in the room.
He wanted everybody to love each other. If there was animosity within family, he didn't want to hear about it. He'll damn near go get one cousin and get the other cousin and put you in a car and tell both of them, we ain't finna do this. We need to figure it out because we're family. That's the type of person that he was.
Because he was trying to bring peace.
He was just one of the most genuine people I know. And honestly, he put a lot of people before himself.
My son is incarcerated in prison, and Khalil reached out to me, got my number, and he would just pop up at my house with just money out the blue. Not that I even needed it, but he would be like, here you go, here, go buy you and your daughter something, go out to eat, I'm gonna buy you some groceries, you know. And these are things that he know that I didn't even need help with, but just him reaching out.
Now Khalil was actually going to have a daughter.
he waited his whole life to be a dad. Like his.
And the last few months of his life, that's all we talked about being a good father. That's all he wanted to be. That's what he was looking forward to.
He made me take like 5 pregnancy tests to make sure it was real. He was tracking the baby's growth before I was even tracking the baby's growth. Like, I mean, like, that's all he talked about. Like,
He was in love at every appointment. He would walk around with ultrasounds in his pocket.
He made everybody feel loved and special, and that is something that no one will be able to give us back.
Now, according to family friends, Khalil is no stranger from allegedly being attacked from the police.
There was also an issue that Carvana also, from what she told me, has pictures of this. Even before this happened to Khalil, when he went to jail before 3 years prior, he had a car accident where he actually got hit by a semi-truck and he broke his neck. he was actually preparing to file a lawsuit because of what happened to him, and it was the semi-truck's fault. And when this happened to Khalil, several weeks or a few days after that, I think maybe he had something with probation where he had to turn himself in or something like that. And when the cops found Khalil or got a hold of him, they beat the crap out of him. Even though that he had the brace on his neck, he had an accident, he reported all that. They put him in jail, which is fine. If you commit a crime or you do anything, you go to jail. They didn't have no right even then to beat him the way they did. That man had just had a car accident. He had a brace on his neck. He was suffering. He was in pain.
Now, I did try to reach out to the family through social medias, and at the moment, they're not talking to anyone. According to Kaehn, they have an ongoing investigation at the moment. Now, I contacted Kaehn about these pictures though, so I'm not too sure if this really is Kaehn. This could be someone maybe pretending to be Kaehn, but the fact that Kaehn told me that there was an ongoing investigation, then on Twitter she has said that she's not taking any calls or interviews at this time, it made me assume that this is Kaehn's number that I am contacting. She did not have any photos, and she wasn't open to talking about the past of what the police did to him, because I did want to go into that to try to understand this whole situation, and she could only talk about the facts.
You know, so I'm surprised on that occasion that they didn't beat him to death. So if it didn't come then, obviously it came 3 years later, but in the end they got what they were looking for. It almost seems premeditated.
Wow, so I didn't know that he had actually got beaten by the police 3 years ago and that he had a neck brace on.
So let's go into the run-up before Khalil's death. So Khalil was in trouble with the law, and he really wanted to see the birth of his child and didn't want to be locked up, right?
He had a warrant, but you know, he had like a prior possession case, so he didn't know exactly how long he'd have to stay, and his baby was due.
We all had one goal, to get him to a safe destination just so he could see his child born. And then we could have handled everything else after that, you know?
Khalil and his really good friend Mario planned to go to Florida, and I guess to stay over there, get away from the whole situation, then come back.
It was hard to get a rental, so we were in a hotel for about a week straight. And we couldn't get one till after the 4th of July because they were all rented out. So I just said wait till after the 4th.
So they were staying in a hotel to, I guess, hide from the authorities. Now, one night while they were at a hotel, Khalil went to see his brother to spend some time with him before he left. I believe this was really late at night, or maybe even very early in the morning, like midnight. And apparently he was driving recklessly and the police started to follow him. Now, the officers attempted to make a probable cause DWI traffic stop in 4200 block of County Road 81. The vehicle did not pull over and the pursuit was initiated.
And then we'll have to talk about, like I said, I had him at fucking 42nd doing 50. And then
yeah, you blew by me like 53.
Banged the right down the connector road. By the time I got up to the connector road, he was already gone. So then I got up to 81, guessed that he went north, and sure enough, then he whips a U-turn. And he's like, I wouldn't say wobbly, but it's weaving. So I was like, well, this guy's got to be shit-faced.
So the dashboard footage, according to what the police is saying, there is no recordings of the first initial contact with the vehicle that Khalil was driving. And according to the family, it wasn't due to speeding.
This is according to the passengers in the vehicle. Khalil Azad felt he was being followed by the officer. He started to panic and fled due to the fear of his life and previous life-threatening interactions with Robbinsdale police.
So he begins to follow him more and eventually turns on his sirens. And it's like, why wouldn't you do that at the beginning of the pursuit? Now what we're going to do is look in the cam footage that the police released.
Waiting for me, and it looks like it's gonna crash here. Location.
He then drives on the wrong side of the road and eventually stops, well, crashes a little bit on the side. In this footage here, you can see the damage done to the car. So this is where the accident site actually was. As you can see, this is where the car would have been.
Khalil ran east towards the lake, according to their report.
Hands up! Fucking A, just keep your hands up. Driver bailed towards the lake running eastbound. Passenger exit the vehicle with your hands up, please. Just keep your up, okay? There's only 2 more of you in. Young lady, open the door. Come on up. Walk towards me. Just keep your hands up. I'm going to place your handcuffs. I'm going to put you in my car for right now.
Now, the brother and the female lied to the police and said that they didn't know his name and they knew him as Kay.
Who's the individual who's driving?
That was a guy that I met like literally tonight. But
you know this guy in the back?
Yeah, I've known him for a little while.
All right, have a seat. You want a canine?
Do you have a description of the party?
Is he a black male or? All I see him is a black male wearing dark clothing.
That's my car.
It's your car? Okay. Do you know his name?
264-5, please.
I only know him by K.
What's the deal with the driver, my man?
I don't know. I do have my license to carry on me.
Do you have a gun?
Yep.
Where is it?
It's on in my holster on my phone.
Right, where is it? Right here?
Yeah,
Okay.
only knows him by K.
Who is the driver?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
What's back here besides the lake?
The lake.
State Patrol coming up?
They said they were checking on flight.
So far, the police are being really respectful. They're handling the situation really well.
All right, we'll get you taken care of in a second, sir. We just got to do our due diligence here. I appreciate you being honest about the firearm.
Yes, sir.
Anything else illegal on you?
Nope.
Yeah, those back.
Business card.
Keys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then cell phone?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm just going to keep you handcuffed for just a second. I'll get you out there in a second. Hang tight. So you have no idea who that dude is?
No, I don't.
Who's the young lady? Huh?
I know her.
You know her?
Yes.
Where'd you guys meet this gentleman?
I don't know about that. She just came and got me, so.
Okay. All right. Hang tight for a second, sir. I'll get you out here in a second,
yeah,
right?
no problem.
All right, you say you're right east, like towards the lake.
We have to go from
Yeah, towards the lake.
shoreline to Drew, probably somewhere over that way.
Copy. 333, so we'll be in position north of the lake on the shoreline. Shoreline and Drew.
Now, whilst in the car, they end up searching and they found some weed and cocaine. And the cocaine was rolled up in paper, allegedly. Now, what I find really interesting about this part is that you can't actually see him pick this up because the cam is facing the seat, but you see his hand move, okay? So I just like to put that out there. It looks like to me that he did pick it up from the middle of the vehicle.
We have a dock or a flight?
Flight. Do you have an envelope?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of coke in the center console and weed.
But according to someone on Facebook who alleges that he knows these people, he claims that it was the female that was taking coke. Now, according to a more credible source though, allegedly it wasn't coke, but perks.
Shoreline and Drew, Shoreline and Chowan. And then if somebody can go back down by the 3000 block of the cul-de-sac in case he's walking the Shoreline.
Okay, so I'd like to point out the car that drove off had no cam recordings, nor was there any footage of the person in the car having a cam recording. If you look here, there's one car that has Penal Squad, and that video is actually only 9 minutes. Robbinsdale police office as well, guys, released only 6, 3 of them being on people and 3 of them from the squad cars. So why is there no video footage of that one car that drives past them?
Are you okay? Outside of being scared shitless?
I'm okay, yeah. Honestly, sometimes I just buy weed from them. Like, I don't really, like the guy in the back I've known longer than
325, Johnny City, Minneapolis, that's the perimeter on the east side.
I'm just a little, honestly shook up, but that's about it.
Whatever.
I'm sorry, this is just my nail that broke off, so I'm not messing with anything.
I'm gonna tell you right now, your car, the front axle's smashed. It's broke.
Okay.
It's probably total. I'm not a mechanic though. I'm just a dumb cop.
You're not a...
Passenger is unaware if the male party that fled would have a firearm. However, she stated would not surprise her if he did. But yeah, we should at least have a canine for a track, just in case he does pitch a gun. And that guy had a firearm, so I don't know if you want canine warnings because this guy had a firearm on him.
Yeah, we'll do warnings.
Okay.
The firearm usually here on the side of the road.
Do you want me to ask the perimeter cars to do that now?
I completely understand why they would need the canines in this situation, especially since they don't know if he does or does not carry.
Do we have a dog coming?
I have no idea. So do you want an ambulance, yes or no? No? Okay. Here, I'm just going to take you out of handcuffs, but I'm just going to keep you back here for just a minute so we can get everything figured out here. You can have your gun back and everything. I appreciate being cooperative. I don't know what the hell that guy was doing. He's lucky he didn't kill somebody.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't die in the car.
You got to be careful who you get into a car with these days.
Definitely.
All right, sir. Hang tight. I'll be right back, all right?
No problem. I know her.
You know her? Okay.
Plymouth is en route with the canine.
Did my partner ask for your medical attention? Are you okay?
I don't know. My head kind of hurts.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just kind of shaking up.
Well, hell yeah. You guys driving like an idiot.
Yeah, what the fuck? I'm wake up for this.
4145, if you're coming there.
Again, to me, in this instance, the police seem like friendly people, right? They're keeping them comfortable.
You're friends with?
Yeah.
So you will feel comfortable if we put him in this car with you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay. Because we have to free up another officer.
Yeah.
To go look for this.
And I'm surprised they're even getting away from the situation.
I mean, you guys are both adults. I'm not going to lecture you, but this should scare the shit out of you, allowing somebody else to drive your car, getting into a car with somebody that you barely know, because you don't know maybe what their history is. Why would he be fleeing if he didn't have something on him he's not supposed to? We did find drugs in the car. So, yes, everyone's walking away from this, driving on the wrong side of the road creates another hazard. So I would take this experience and run from it.
Run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Run, yeah. And then maybe just Uber everywhere and drive back your personal car back and forth.
Because coke, having coke, a possession of coke, is a huge crime. A lot of people are going to question, okay, well, why would they let them get away, especially with having such a substance? It's crazy to think that they really let these guys get away with having coke possessions in their car and just like, oh, we're just gonna let you get away. We think it's the guy who ran away, and that's what I'm assuming, that they really feel it's the guy who got away, because if you weren't guilty, why would you run? So they're all assuming that these people are innocent. These guys cooperated with us, so there's no reason for them to really lie, even though they feel that Khalil's brother is lying.
I have her ID. I'll get her phone number. It's her car. She only knows the guy is Kaehn, and she says that he knows the guy over here. How she was introduced to this guy is from him, but he's saying he doesn't know who he is. They've been nothing but cooperative, except for, I think, the guy you had is lying. He knows who he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Because she says that she met him, the driver, through the other guy.
So why would you let them go and not give them some type of charge?
Where'd you find the cocaine?
On the center console.
On it?
Yeah, and it's wrapped up in a dog bill.
Yeah.
I actually tried to look for this police officer's cam recording and nada. There was nothing. So now, I don't know if he was the one that was in the car before. If he wasn't, then now we have another cam footage that we don't know about. Another interesting part I saw in this video is talking about why the police wasn't wearing gloves.
Oh, you're gonna glove up? Oh, this isn't. Fuck yeah!
I don't know what that is. Maybe it's nothing. I just found that interesting and thought I'll show you guys.
The lake.
Please get down, you're under arrest. Give yourself up now. Dog will be sent. Dog will find you. Dog may bite you.
Sometime later, they actually end up having a helicopter look for him.
300 Altec 2, just over holding down priority costs.
The 6 law enforcement agencies that was there are Robbinsdale, Crystal, New Hope, Plymouth, Hennepin County, and also State Patrol helicopter.
Deploy his dog. Deploy his dog and get a little tired over here.
Now around this part, this is when they bump into a homeless man at the bench, and this is important to mention because allegedly this man got beaten up by the police, but we will get into that later. Keep watching.
So we were gonna have you start here, okay, but there's like homeless dudes sleeping on this bench right there. And then if you go further back here, there's a boardwalk, and there's another big grove where homeless people have some encampments, so...
The police officer in this cam recording then mentions another squad, a squad that we do not have a recording of.
Yeah, they're going to be just basically where the deputy squad is. It's going to be pretty much all in here, and then the boardwalk entrance is going to be right out there, so... Okay.
Now, according to Lynette, who actually spoke to the homeless man that these guys are talking about...
He said he heard some running, and then he just heard nothing after that. But then one of the cops noticed he was laying on the bench, and it startled the cop, he believes. He was told to leave away from that area where he was sleeping and to stand his ass across the street. That's exactly what the guy told me. He said, yeah, they yelled at me, and they told me, get your ass across the street, and you stay there until we get done here.
Now, this wasn't shown in any of the recordings that we have, but remember, there are some recordings that are not shown, and they also mention the homeless man again here.
That probably passed for that guy's on the bench.
Yeah. And then if anyone's in there, this nice little grove of trees are going to come right out to Radovich.
So as you can see, there is no homeless man on the bench here, which means that this cam recording at this location happened after the interaction with the homeless man, which we don't have, again, which would be on this police officer's cam recording, I believe. Apparently there is some recordings of him talking about this.
Actually, I got a couple videos of the guy kind of explaining the scenario and what he witnessed before they told him to leave that area. He was there. He was explaining how he remembered the car hitting something and then just the foot race, you know, with the cops chasing Khalil.
So he said the cops actually chased Khalil.
Oh, yes.
On foot.
It's on video.
They never told his mom that they seen him and said, stop, freeze right there. Well, because they found my brother 2-3 days later. If they seen him, why didn't they grab him right then and there out of the water, tased, dead, whatever? Why didn't they grab him right then and there?
They must have saw him.
Had to have. If
why
they
would
said
they
that,
have said,
we're gonna tase you?
we're going to tase you?
And this is where I was. There's a black box.
Yeah, they were right down there, a little bit to the right. I could hear him playing his tape. So they were like...
Let's go back a little bit. This is where the sitting bench is, and the other two, they end up going down here. Hazley, I think is his name, or if that's the group name, don't even know. Him, the guy with the dog, end up going here and going up to the boardwalk. Before that, Hazley was with I believe the other two, and the bald guy with the dog, and they end up going around here, back here, talking to them, and that's when Hazley splits up with the other guy. Well, the bald dude and another dude that we don't have their cam footage that I know of has not been released to the public. They end up going back down here. If they found him, I do not know. And we have to demand them to show us that cam footage. This is the cam footage they have not shown to the public. So, if anything, it is a possibility that maybe they saw Khalil down here. Maybe. Again, it could have been even before. We still haven't seen that bald man's cam footage and the helicopter and some other people there too. So there's a lot of footage that we have not seen.
Put a camera off.
Now, I was able to locate some of the recordings that the Robbinsdale Police Department did not release publicly when they released the other 6. But keep watching, we'll get into that. After that, Khalil is missing. Everyone is worried about where he is, what has happened to him, why has no one heard from him. On July the 5th, they end up finding Khalil's body floating in 3 feet of water with his face down.
Khalil's body was recovered in less than 3 feet of water and less than 15 feet from shore on July 5th.
the one thing that he really wanted was to see his daughter. That was taken away from him. He didn't get an opportunity to see that girl smile, to come into the world, to hold her.
City of Robbinsdale Police Department also released a statement, and nothing was mentioned about a chase.
Law enforcement never made this fact that they had chased the drowning victim 2 days before known to the public.
Now, according to the police, though, they didn't know until later that it was Khalil's body floating in the lake. Until the family contacted them that day, it was unknown, but the autopsy medical exam did identify Khalil, but it was the 6th he was identified.
Yeah, the police actually contacted his mother and went to the house and told them that they had found someone they suspected that she knew that was her son, so she had to identify him.
Now, my question is it the same police that were out that night chasing him? If not, do we expect the police to know that it was Khalil? But if it was them, the police that were after Khalil, and the only way we would know this is if we see the report, shouldn't they be like, wow, this is the guy we were chasing? You know, and shouldn't that be mentioned also in the report? Hey, there was a police chase and we found the body. We believe it was this person. If anyone has any details of this body, etc., let us know, you know. And the medical examiner office said he died from drowning. So the water isn't that deep at the lake. It is deeper further in, and allegedly the police had insinuated that the reason why he drowned was due to injuries that he sustained in the car accident.
Insinuating that, and then people also insinuating that water damage could be the cause of all the stuff that happened to him.
I was actually at work. I was on the computer and I just screamed. Like, because his life was so hard. I thought he could make it through anything in this world. And we didn't fail, but it hurts everybody's heart because everybody has, just like, if we could have did this different, or we could have did this different, or we could have did this different, he would have been here. And he just couldn't be here.
Now, the medical examiner office autopsy report said this: no life-threatening injuries or natural diseases identified. To toxology, see attached NMS labs report for details. Now, I haven't seen this, but according to activists, he had some drugs in his system, allegedly. Again, I have not seen this for myself, and I have asked other activists who have posted this and said similar things, and they have not shown me this. But I really want to know, how did they actually see this report? Because when Simply Anna actually emailed this medical office, this is what they told her. They said it had to be like next to king or whatever. And to top it off, it seems like they have been ignoring us, because we have asked them on Twitter about it and I have had no response. But saying that, when I asked Khalil's baby mother, his girlfriend, about if he was on this drug, she said this. And according to Khalil's real close friend that knows him really, really well, he does not do anything like that.
Right. Besides that, Khalil doesn't do meth. He doesn't do crack.
Simply Ann also emailed this activist group. They never responded, and I think they're fake. The guy that also made the statement has a real shady past. So, on the scene, there was articles of clothing, a pair of shoes along western shoreline of the lake. The clothing items appeared wet and had some sand on them. A permanent marker was inside the left shoe. There also appeared to be cobwebs inside of the shoes. Now, they found his body floating in the water face down near the west shoreline of the lake, north of the clothing items and shoes. His head appeared to be oriented towards the shore, with only the back of his head, back, and buttocks visible from the surface of the water. Upon investigating West's initial examination of Azad, his face was bloated and discolored, with areas of his skin that were peeling and blistered. More areas of blistering skin were also on the front and back of his torso area. His eyes and mouth appeared partially open. Both of his hands was discolored and pruned. No other obvious trauma or injuries were observed.
It's a severely beaten man with dog bites all over his face.
Now, the family have released the images, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it is very graphic, and I am going to blur them. Now I'm going to explain what I can see in the pictures for those that actually don't want to see the picture, but if you keep watching, I will tell you exactly where you can find them. There is one picture of his face, and it's really weird that they're taking pictures on the side, but I digress. Now this picture, by the way, was taken at the scene, I think when they got his body onto the shore. The first picture, it's pretty crazy. Like, it looks like there's a dent, like his face is obviously swollen, and the photo is more on the side. It looks like there's another hole, but it turns out that that's his actual eye. His eye looks like it's like protruding, is that the word? It's like coming out a bit, and it's faced down. It's very red, really extremely bloody red on this side, and there's like 2 gashes here and a deep cut here. The fact there's a dent there and the face is so red there, like bloody, little bit purple maybe, or some dark red. It looks like he has had some trauma to his face, which could indicate that someone had beat him in the face, especially with his eye hanging out like that. Like, how does that happen? Now, I've seen other bodies and other autopsies that I can find that it was just red. It wasn't like blood blistering blue like his was. But there's like a gash in his lip here, and there's blood coming out. And there's 2 chunks out of his lip, here and here, that have been, look like it's been taken out. And it possibly could be a dog bite. It doesn't look like he had multiple dog bites. When I'm thinking of canine bites, I'm thinking like this, but I'm also thinking this is a possibility. This is a possible that it could be a bite. This though could be from the woods. It could be when he was running for the bushes, it could be cuts from there, right? From what I've been gathering and researching on other autopsies and experiments that people have done on dead bodies for science, because people do donate their bodies to that. When people drown and they're floating, sometimes their skin gets so soft and it can scrape against the rocks, and skin starts to peel and injuries. But in this case, it doesn't look like a scrape. Not only that, the car did have an accident, so it is another possibility that he attained this injury in the accident in the car. But again, why didn't the others get severe injuries? Maybe they had their belts on and he didn't. Again, we don't know. This information is really not provided. Did he injure himself in that car?
No, he didn't. No one else in the car even had a headache. No one was injured.
Yeah, it was just a broken nail from the girl.
No one had any scars, injuries, headaches, nothing. They were just telling me that Khalil had ran and they got pulled over and they thought he got away. But
looking at the other image, this is when I'm like, it looks like he's been beaten. It's a possibility. The autopsy report, they don't talk about his eye looking the way it was. They don't talk about the gash on his lip. They don't talk about his nose. His nose actually looks like it's been flattened. It looked like someone punched his nose. There's one image, and I'm assuming this is the image that people are saying that his jaw is broken. His family's been saying this, and personally, I don't know for certain if it is a broken jaw, but his mouth is like opened a little bit. As well as that, it looks like some dreads have been pulled out from the back of his head, because there's like a big patch of skin that's missing, whereas I think his dreads should be. Anyway, because of this, the family feels that it was the police that killed him.
If Khalil was getting eaten by dogs, he was alive.
From my knowledge, the body examiner, the person who examined Khalil's body, hasn't actually spoken out. I think someone with a little bit of empathy would publicly speak about this situation and will be able to exactly explain the nose, the jaw, the mouth opening up, the eye. Let's get into what happened when they were trying to find the car.
Like come tow this and everything from my insurance company?
No, we'll tow it.
Okay.
And it'll go, I'll get you a business card of where it's getting towed to. I don't know if you're familiar with the...
Yeah, things out of it or no?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go in and take it, because they'll probably More than likely, they might process it.
That's totally
for DNA.
The next day, we went to go get the car. Usually, someone's car is impounded, they only release it to the owner or the insurance. But we went up there multiple times. They gave us a hard time. Then they told us they released it to a place called Schmitty's Towing. And I looked Schmitty's Towing up, and it says on their website that they work with the sheriff's office. So I went to the address there, but it brought me to a post office. But then I went to the building next to the post office, and it was their actual address. And when we got in the gate, they instantly didn't want to talk and wanted us to turn around.
Now, I'm not sure if this was the first time or the second time they tried to see the car. But according to this guy, the first time they actually saw the car with the lawyer and was able to take pictures.
The car was with a girl's name named Sahara, and he was with his brother Moses. And just because he's my brother, I'm there every step of the way. I'm bringing her to the impound lot with a lawyer, so the lawyer could try to see the car and they would take pictures. And the only time they ever let her see the car was the first time, and then we went. None of their phone numbers worked. My cousin had to email their boss to actually get any type of response, and I can send you what he sent me after this, pretty much saying that they were going to junk the car because it's so many days. But it was all happening so fast. How are you guys moving this car to 3-4 locations? And then I got on Schmitty's website. As soon as we look them up on Google, and they're like, one of their slogans is, "I make cars disappear. What's your power?" And it's crazy. I've never seen the car again.
So you're saying the car that they were in is gone?
I don't know how many different attempts and locations to try to see this car. I never got to see it. She never obtained her car back. That was in her name, that was paid for.
It was in her name. She had a license. She had full coverage insurance. They had no right.
Now, someone ended up messaging this guy who owns the business, right? He says the vehicle was impound that was orders to pick up by the lien holder and released to auction. That's all we know. He goes, car was paid off. Try again, but thank you for letting me know that you know what happened. So who told him that? Who told him that he can get the car and sell it? Now, I did message him to get his side of the situation, but I have not heard back from him. Saying that, I think it's so important for the girl who owns the car to actually prove this, because if she does, it really shows that something is going on here. Because right now, we really don't know if she actually owns the car. It's just their word. I'm not saying that they're lying, but facts and evidence when it comes to things like this is so important, especially when you want to nail it and be like, okay, here's everything, something's going on. After they find out the whole situation of what happened to Khalil, they end up having like a little memorial visual type of thing for him, right? Near the lake, when they're gathering, talking about memories and the experiences that they had with Khalil, talking about the situation as well. While they were there was another male that was there. I don't know too much about him, but an argument broke out and the guy ended up leaving. Afterwards, a cop end up coming.
The approach that he had was not the best approach. It was kind of rude. Like, you guys got to clear up. It wasn't even 10 o'clock at night yet. You would normally think that you would pull up and you want to see if there's some drinking going on, if there's some loud music. We didn't have any of the sort. I told the officer, you know, we're not doing anything. We don't have the music loud. We're just kind of out here mourning my nephew's loss. He said, well, you guys can't be hanging around out here. I'll give you guys about another 20 minutes. He never left the premises of where we were already sitting at. He kind of went a few feet away, reversed his vehicle, and that's when my son and Mario had went.
People told me not to, but I walked over there just to see what's the problem with us being here.
Ends up approaching the car, right? And the police ends up turning on his bright lights onto him. He's annoyed, right? He sees people walking and he's like, why are you not telling these people to go home? Why us? And he told the police this.
And he didn't even look at them. He said, I didn't see them. They're leaving.
He felt like something was up. This guy wasn't even compassionate or had any empathy, giving any condolences, nothing. He just felt like the vibe was really bad. Then he asked him, do you know, like, my brother died here? He said,
no. Who? And from that, I just said, I knew. I was like, what's your name? And then he said, what's your name? And I didn't even mean to, but I said Khalil, but I did not want to tell him my name, honestly. What's your name? And he said, Sergeant. I said, you're not going to tell me your name? And he's like, Sergeant Kaehn. And then
after that, the boy that had the argument with the group, right, or one of the boys within the group, ends up coming out and pulling out a gun.
Minding you, I have my children outside. There's other people out there with me. This man was waving his gun, and clearly the officer who's reversed can clearly see what's happening. If you're worried about us making noise and you want us to clear the space and you can see that there's another guy pointing a gun at a crowd, you would think that he would automatically zoom up with his vehicle, have some type of restraint, some force. It didn't hit that cop or the other squad that came in until my other nephew, Keemer, had started getting irate, cussing out the cops. Do you see this guy with a gun? Do you not see that our life is being in danger? He's snapping. That's when they responded. They kind of drove on top of the curb.
Lynette was speaking in Spanish to let them know, don't let them know too much of what they knew, etc., and what was about to come out.
The guy's energy when he was going back and forth with my nephews.
And then the cop was like, oh yeah, you got need protection? Something. I was like, what you gonna do, Kaehn? And he was like, I'm here to keep everybody safe. And then winked at me, but I knew he was trying to be funny and he was trying to tell me everybody's not safe here.
Was hurt and crying and saying, you guys know you guys had an involvement to do with my brother and him dying. One of the officers responded like, do you want to be a victim? And one of these guys got to have that audio in that video because it was on Facebook Live.
Now, I haven't seen this live, but one clip I have found on Facebook was this.
Yes, we got him. Oh, you got the gun? Yes. You got the gun? Oh my God, I was trying to get that motherfucker.
Y'all need to go to jail. I was gonna snatch it. Y'all killed my brother in this lake, and you know what happened.
Can you guys answer his question?
Can I get your names and badge numbers? Can you answer my question?
3829, are you going to cooperate? I'd love to help you.
Hey! That's my brother. I want to go say something to him. That's my brother. I want to go say something to him. You don't got to size me up. I don't got shit.
With the location.
I don't got shit.
All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, but let's go.
Do you want to report?
Still waiting for the full footage, and as you can see, this shows it's 2 minutes, maybe even longer, but once I get it, I will upload it.
When he told me, I'm here to keep everyone safe, I knew what he was talking about. He was saying everyone's not safe here. I caught it. It was like, literally, that's why he winked at me and was trying to be funny. You know why? Because he wanted me to know that they were proud of what they did.
So allegedly the one that gave him the wink and that he felt had something to do with it, I believe it's Robert Officer Kaehn. And I don't know if this is the same bald man that was with the dogs, because allegedly they're saying that Robert Kaehn has a tattoo and they have this image here. And the other bald dude doesn't have a tattoo from what I can see in the cam footage, unless that tattoo is new.
And Schmitty is a part of the Hell's Outcast bikers, and Robert Kaehn has a motorcycle tattoo on his arm, so it kind of starts making sense to me after a while.
Now I looked at a picture with an owner, and as you can see, he has a patch here, right?
Let's break this down. MC patch rules. Motorcycle club patches are earned through club membership and provide specific information about the rider's club and chapter.
It was really hard for me to work out the patch. I was like, is it this one? But according to him, he was a part of a biker club. Now this patch looks a lot more closer to this one. It was just due to that little symbol on the head. Again, I could be completely wrong, but this group seems more like brotherhood and basically donating money, helping families out. But loyalty is very strong in these groups. So is it a coincidental that Kaehn also is into bikes, or is it a chance that they could have possibly known each other from a club?
That next day, when we went to go see the car was and we couldn't see it anymore. We had to have all type of documents signed, and it was just a lot of runaround.
Why do you feel they would not want that woman who owns the car to get the car back?
It would prove that what happened to Khalil couldn't have been from the crash, because the car was, the only thing that happened was like a little fender bender, and I have photos of the car from the first original day.
Sometime after,
about 4 days later,
Lynette actually went back to the lake, right, to put some flowers, etc. And that's where she sees this homeless man again.
They beat the shit out of him. And I asked him who did it, and he said to me, I don't know, but the cops told me that I'm stirring up a lot of trouble over here in the neighborhood. Since that last conversation, when I seen that homeless man, I have not seen him anymore.
the officer Kaehn specifically, he has a record on file that charges were filed on him by a Mr. Thompson, I believe, for excessive police force. I don't know how that ended, but he has a history of using force against black people.
I don't know about a history of him using force, but there is one case that he had, right? They end up putting a man named Thomas, a black man, in the back of his car, and Thomas allegedly was drunk. He was trying to choke himself with the seatbelt. Kaehn ended up cutting the seatbelt and then cussing at the man. The man ends up yelling back at this officer as well. Now, the police officers, the witness, is claiming that Thomas tried to hurt Kaehn. And that was the reason why Kaehn defended himself and ended up taking 2 blows to Thomas's face. Unfortunately, the evidence, right, is ambiguous. It doesn't show that Thomas was either pulled out of the car and punched, or if he lunged at Kaehn and then out of defense, Kaehn punched him. And according to what I'm reading here, references below, basically he was denied the respect to excessive force claim against Kaehn.
I asked the mayor to have an outside investigation. He said, pending the autopsy report, that he would have an outside investigation. You don't have to wait for an autopsy report to have an outside investigation. He never followed up with me. Here's the thing. He said, we will follow, and I have this in an email, we will follow the evidence wherever it may lead.
Like 2 days after his funeral, we had to go to his baby shower. Like, wow. It's like, it hurts. It feels good, but it hurt more than it felt good.
The family still didn't get the answers that they wanted. They have no idea what has happened to Khalil, right? So they end up releasing these pictures of his autopsy and the pictures that they found when they pulled him out the lake. Of course, everyone is shocked. These pictures start going around the internet and everyone starts demanding to see the police cams.
Hello, I'm Khalil's sister, and it's really hard for me to speak, but no matter if this happened in July or today, he deserves justice now.
He was a beautiful man with a beautiful smile. He didn't deserve this. My daughter don't deserve this. I would have been the best person in her life. It don't matter who she has to tell her the story. He needed to be here.
How much he cared, to know how much he was doing. He helped Carvana put the baby shower together, pick out the colors, what they were going to wear, did shirts, and he never had the opportunity to see that in flesh.
When did this happen, when they went to the police station to see the cam footage?
After the protest started.
Okay, so wow, this year. Well, the police end up releasing the cans, but as I told you before, they only released 6. So they are intentionally, in my opinion, playing in your guys' faces. There is so much more that they have not shown. What about the helicopter? What about the other squad? And we know you have more footage because the Black Lives Matter Manhattan website has footage that you guys have not released. One with the guy who's basically controlling the dog. And as you can see, it says Axon Body. And it has a date and a time. So how come the other ones that were released to the public never had a form of date or what time? So it's very strange. And another one of the police officers making some jokes about Khalil swimming or something like that. It was hard to hear, but here it is.
Sure? Yeah.
220.
Come on, Bill, get your nose to the ground and find
Right. She is reporting pain in her head. Do you have rescue headed this way?
The car registers to our city.
I do, correct.
I don't read signs. I can't read. That's why I'm like, oh. Jeez.
Nothing, huh?
Well, we had a great up until we got the hat, and then right down to the water line, and then.
Good.
2406.
Swam across the lake.
Yeah. Well, we can tread water.
Washington County just called and advised that they took a 911 call
rolled up with one of the homeless guys in there.
Probably.
Residents have said that there's somebody in the cornfield across from them with a flashlight, and there's about 40 cars circling the block.
Apparently, there was some other footages that I haven't seen.
Because we seen the video pause. The same thing it did in my son's father's situation when it went blank. The video went blank, and they edited it and made it look how they wanted it to look. It's the same thing they did to Khalil. They made the video go blank. They staged the whole thing. They stopped at the water because their other officers were over there doing whatever they were doing to Khalil. We hear them on the video saying, stop, freeze, put your hands up. We hear them on the video saying that, and then the officer says, oh, the cameras is rolling, and then the video goes pause, and then nothing comes back in.
Maybe there's some footage out there that is still not released to the public, because I have not seen this footage of a pause or them saying turn off the camera. I have seen the a footage of the police screaming, but not in the way that she is claiming.
Police K-9, if you're in here, give yourself up. You're going to get bit. Police K-9, if you're in here, you're going to get bit. Give yourself up.
And if this footage is out there, I am more than happy to put it on my platform. You guys know where to find me. Hit me up on social medias. Saying that, these videos are very long, guys, and it is very easy to miss something while watching these long videos.
They say the video released by Robbinsdale police is incomplete, and they're calling for more transparency.
Say his name. Say his name.
They're putting out misinformation as to what happened, especially that ridiculous video they put out last night.
Robbinsdale police say they have released everything they legally can. The department also requested an unprecedented independent investigation by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. Azad's supporters, meanwhile, want video released by the other law enforcement agencies that were on the scene the night he died.
Okay, so that was a lot of information, right? What we do know is that the family doesn't have all the cam footage, okay? That's one thing we can say 100%.
Khalil was over-policed. There was multiple agencies, there was helicopters, there was multiple K-9 units, there was officers on standby around the perimeter for one man who they couldn't find. They didn't even put out a APB for him. If he was really a threat, then why did you stop the search when you got to the boardwalk, right? So it's these questions that we need transparency to, and that we need to make sure that we have police reform.
But you guys gotta understand, it's the power of numbers. If you guys are upset about this whole situation, here are the people that you need to contact. The mayor's details should also be in there, and it's quite embarrassing as well for a mayor not show proper leadership in a situation like this. The family is left to wonder. I don't blame them to be like, what is going on after seeing those images? They have every right to question and ask what's going on, to get the closure that they deserve, because some things just don't make sense, especially when the police have not fully released all the camera footage. Guys, hit the subscribe button with notifications if you want to get updates on this situation. My condolences go out to their family, and I really hope that they get the answers that they deserve and the justice that they deserve.